Hello, everybody. Good morning. Oh, I think this is definitely working. So I'm Dickie Currer. I do a number of different initiatives which really support the growth of the Australian tech and innovation ecosystem. Can you all hear me? Just checking. Amazing. And I'm here today with Deborah Young, the CEO of the Regtech Association. Round of applause for Deborah, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think
Is that working?
Can you hear Deborah? You can. Okay, we can't hear ourselves on the microphone, which is very confusing, but we're there. So we're here to talk about Regtech today, which sets a very unique case in our ecosystem. We are the third largest Regtech sector in the world, in Australia, though we're largely underfunded. But if you ask everyone out in the room today how important Regtech is in terms of global trade, it's obviously paramount to our success. So we're here to talk about how we can really supercharge the sector today, and how we can take advantage of our position as a leader in global Regtech. Deborah, let's set the scene today and make sure everyone's on the same page. Can you define Regtech for me for the non-professionals in the room?
Yes, thanks, Dickie, and welcome everybody. So great that you could be here. So there's a lot of confusion around regulatory technology, or also known as Regtech. So short for regulation and compliance technology. It's any type of technology, agnostic in what type of technology, that solves regulation and compliance challenges. And that can be in financial services, but a lesser known fact is that Regtech can be used by any regulated industry in the world. So in other words, the solutions that have been honed in financial services can actually be applied outside of financial services. And if you think about it, just about every industry under the sun has regulation and compliance that it needs to meet. That might be agriculture, that could be mining, it could be education, real estate, and so the list goes on. And so I think it's helpful to understand about what the massive opportunity that there is around Regtech. And I would also say what's important is we also say there's a difference between Regtech and Fintech, somewhat controversially.
Yeah, so why is it important to really define the difference between Regtech and Fintech and not bucket the two in the same, same industry or vertical?
Yeah, so the fundamental difference is, and I think, look, it was very convenient to bundle it all under something called Fintech, which is obviously aligned with financial services, but it really refers to the segment that it is servicing or the segment that it is disrupting. So Fintech can be serving financial services, but can also disrupt financial services. And because of the broader definition that I've just given, that's why I think it's an unhappy marriage to call Regtech Fintech, because it doesn't do it justice. And also the other thing I would say about regulation and compliance technology are enablers. Rarely does Regtech disrupt anything except for a lousy process or system.
Amazing, thank you, Deborah. So we talk a little bit about, or I mentioned, the underfunding in Regtech. I think we were talking before about trying to get some stats, but it's really hard to know exactly how much funding goes into the sector. But we're confident in saying that it's not well funded comparative to other sectors, right? What's happening? What's the alpha, and what are VCs missing out on in terms of funding in the space? How can we change that?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So in the 7 years since we founded the Regtech Association, we've been tracking. It's been hard to get dollar amounts, but what we have collected is data around the pivoting away from bootstrapped businesses now to seeing more professional capital flowing in. And the reason many of the businesses were bootstrapped to begin with was that most Regtech companies, none of them left uni yesterday wearing a colourful t-shirt with a cute logo. Most of them are all on their second or third career. They have worked in industry. They have seen the challenges firsthand, and they have gone off to found companies that can address those challenges. So we're talking about mature profile of individuals, very experienced, deep subject matter experts in their space. And so this meant that when they jumped out of their highly paid financial services job and founded a tech company, they actually were able to get a handful of customers to begin with. And so they kind of skipped over the whole startup path and started a range of small businesses that actually had some traction and some customers. And so to your question about why VCs should be taking notice, they should be taking notice because these are solid businesses backed by extremely experienced individuals. And so there should be a lot of confidence built in the capability of those founders.
Yeah, I would say, I used to work in VC for a little bit, and I'm an angel investor, and I'd say that's the archetype founder you want to invest in, right? Domain expert, already has proven track record of customers, has a solution that's obviously got a need in market. So why are we not seeing as much investment going in? Well, obviously we can define why they should be, but why doesn't it exist?
Yeah, because fundamentally, Regtech, because of the nature of it, it has a long sales cycle. We've been tracking it, and the sales cycle has been coming down over time, which is good. I think when we first started out, it was something like 2 years, then 13 months, and to where our last survey, end of last year, it was 8.2 months or something like that. So it's still a long sales cycle, which makes it less attractive for some investors.
Yeah.
But for those investors that are canny and that are prepared to put a bit of patient capital in there, it takes a little while to go in, but it also takes a really long time to come out as well. So it is very sticky. So for the investors that can bear it, there will be rewards. And look, everybody knows that regulations are changing like every few seconds. Just while we've been sitting here, there have probably been thousands of changes around the world to regulations. And so this makes it a constant battle for institutions looking to adhere to the regulations, regulators needing to administer and monitor those, and then Regtech companies being able to rise to that challenge.
And what about government support? Like, how much government support is there in the sector? Is it well funded? How can we attain more?
I think there's a lot more to be done, and because Regtech for a long time did sit under the Fintech banner, they were kind of bundled together. Yep. My call out for the Australian government would be to recognise that, to your earlier remarks, Australia has the third largest product pool of Regtechs right here. Sydney New South Wales has 70% of those Regtechs are right here in this backyard. This is an enormous opportunity for regulation and compliance worldwide for Australia to dominate. And if you think about it, we're third, so US is first, yep. UK is second. Australia has a much smaller population than both of those countries, so we're punching way, way above our weight. So I think recognition of this and actually being given opportunities to talk about that on a global platform, and then looking at how some other nations have been very successful, have pivoted towards innovation, like Singapore, like Ireland, have done a great job. Australia is a much larger geographical country, of course, and we're quite isolated, so that gives us that challenge. We're used to agriculture and mining being the backbone, but we do have great innovation right in this country. So that'd be my call out for the government to recognise that.
So you think per capita we're probably number one, right, in terms of our population size? It's a really good. I mean, we talk about this quite a bit. I do a lot of work with state governments, and we talk about this concept of, how do we laser down to specialising in a couple of different industries, and that's how we go to market and export internationally. As a country that only has 25 million people, we can't be agnostic really in how we go to market. So huge opportunity. And I mean, Singapore and Ireland, I'm just making assumptions here, but I imagine they're quite government driven, knowing the Singapore market quite well. So it's a really big opportunity for us to, I guess, the government to step in and put a flagpole, I guess, in terms of Regtech being one of our major exports.
Yes, that's right. And just my earlier remarks, there are some funds that the government have set up to provide capital to small businesses, but typically Regtechs are kind of between the startup and then just under what the growth fund has been set up to fund. So they're kind of in this unhappy corridor in the middle of that, maybe a $5 to $10 million revenue business, which just falls under what they're backing. And I think Ireland and Singapore have done a great job in actually investing in their innovation. mostly because they have to, right, because of their geographical location and their size.
Yeah, exactly that. Like we have a concept called the mid-market crisis, which any country between 20 million and 50 million, it's too easy sometimes to get caught in your local market and have success, get enough customers, get enough traction, to the point where you then don't build global. So like you say, markets like New Zealand is a great example, as a 5 million population that will go global from day one because you have to build a business, right? So that's definitely something we see across every sector, but I can see obviously it happens and applies in Regtech as well. And do you think the local ecosystem's ready to work across global, I guess, regulatory landscapes?
Look, we were very lucky that we founded this association 7 years ago, and we've been on a journey with most of the Regtechs that started around that time. And I can almost say without exception, every single one of those companies has been built to go global. You know, we have a small population in this country. There's only a certain number of banks that can be serviced. So ultimately, a lot of the companies here will need to scale and grow. And so our association, in recognition of that, we've actually scaled and grown our remit beyond Australia's borders. And so we help companies from no matter where they are from. We're willing to help them go into new markets all around the world, whether that be the UK, US, Hong Kong, Singapore, wherever they want to go, we can help. And then inbound, we can help as well, give them a soft landing spot. So yeah, definitely ready to go global, and we're there to assist and support them to do that.
So I guess follow-up question from that, Deborah. Anyone in the room today who's listening or who's part of the conference, you know, whether they be a bank, a software provider, trading platform, you know, how can they work with your association, I guess, to get support and to help work in the sector?
Thank you. Yeah, so you can join the association. It's an annual subscription, and what we try to enable is we want as many companies who are touching on the regulation and compliance space in their solution. Obviously, financial institutions have a whole list of headaches that they're trying to solve for. So what we're trying to do is to bring buyers, sellers, and regulators together to have a strategic conversation. I often say to my members, I'll not make a single sale for you, but I'm going to be able to smooth the path for you to get eyeballs on your solution, not just in this local market, but in markets everywhere. And a great example of that is on Thursday of this week, we have a financial crime event happening. We will have probably around 200 people representing 21 different countries who are coming to that online platform. So if you become a member of ours, you'll be given the opportunity to present at those events and get to customers that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to reach. And really it's about that accessibility, is helping the institutions unpack and discover what are the latest solutions. We have a directory, it's open 24/7. You don't need to wait for the conference to find out who's who. This can be working for companies here in this room 24/7. The banks will go there when they're market scanning and looking for solutions. So it's really just being able to amplify your brand is what we're really good at doing, and being able to bring potential new customers. And so just go to our website and click on the link to join, and then it's as simple as that, really.
I love it. Look, and I think I might do a cheeky plug myself here. So one of my, I guess, organizations that I work with is Tech Australia Advocates. I'm the founder. We help basically anyone that wants to advocate and strengthen the Australian tech and innovation ecosystem to connect with global markets. So similar to you, I think it's a marriage made in heaven. We, again, work across 35 countries, 30,000 business leaders in the network. It's a free grassroots community. And I've been working for the last 6 weeks in Southeast Asia to build innovation bridges between Vietnam, South Korea, Philippines, and Australia. So if I sound a little bit tired today, it's because I flew in yesterday morning from the Philippines. So again, jump on techaustraliaadvocates.com. You can sign up for free to become an advocate and help us to connect internationally. Deborah, we've got time for one more question. I might go to the audience, see if there is anyone who's got a burning question they'd like to ask Deborah or myself. Hands up. If not, I can ask. I've got another one in the pocket. If not, any questions? Wait a suitable amount of time? No one? Okay, Deborah, we've got 2 minutes left. Can you tell me who are the leading Australian Regtech companies? Who are the superstars right now in the industry to follow and watch out for?
Okay, so I'm not going to answer that because if they are my members, I'm not going to put one against the other, so I'm not going to fall into that trap. But a couple of things, if I can just point to some trends,
Please.
and which will perhaps some of the people here will then go and look at that. I speak to a lot of regulators around the world, and they are generally sitting at the top of the tree on what we should all be caring about. One of those is protecting people. And so in a world of fraud and scams right now, which is on the rise simply everywhere, I mean, I know that the people in this room have probably all stopped using their mobile phone to take telephone calls because we don't know who's calling us. So fraud and scams is very, very high on the agenda. If that's of interest to you, please do go and add yourself to our mailing list because we're about to do a global challenge launch next week. So fraud and scams is one. Financial crime continues to be a great scourge on society as well. But there are some lesser known areas of Regtech that might get you thinking. Employment compliance is another huge growth area, and something that I'd urge you to go and look at via our website. So that is, in other words, how are you onboarding the people that you're hiring? Are they who they say they are? Is their university degree real? Do they have the right to work in your country? Are you going to pay them according to the laws of Australia? Are you going to ensure that they get the right professional development for their particular job type? And then when we get to the end of the life cycle, are you actually getting everything returned to you, i.e. data and access to systems and all that kind of stuff? So employment compliance is a really super interesting space right now. And Australia has some leaders in this space. So I think there are three kind of ideas to go with on what you should be or could be looking at.
Great. You are a diplomat in terms of being a CEO of a member organization. I love that. I appreciate that. And great trends. Thank you, Deborah. That's it for us, folks. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here over the next 2 days. Thank you.